Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to get SQL Server Express and go ahead and install that on your local machine. And then we're going to go ahead and create some videos to show you how to perform operations in SQL Server on your local machine. So let's go ahead and download this from the Microsoft website. So this is the installer. We'll go ahead and just do a basic installation. Sometimes it's nice to read through this stuff. Go ahead and accept the installation. I don't have a lot of space on my C drive, but I happen to have a very large storage drive. All right, I'll just install it here in program files. All right, let's go ahead and install this. So it's obviously downloading the files, and then it's going to go ahead and go through the installation process. So what we're going to do in the next set of videos is we're going to go ahead and um, write some SQL statements. We're going to perform queries. We're going to perform inner joins, outer joins. We're going to do all sorts of really cool stuff and just get a feel for what it's like to work with SQL Server and different tables. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. And this will give you that knowledge of, that fundamental knowledge of understanding how SQL Server operates, because when you're working in Power Platform and you're having to integrate with SQL Server instances, one of those things that you have to understand is from an integration perspective, how do you set up your queries in the right way so that your source data that's coming in is in the right format so that the parameters that are coming in hit the destination. In this case, a lot of the times it's Dynamics 365, or it could be finance and operations, and you can feed that data into those services, those platforms in the right way. Make sure you have the right data. You don't want to have a query that is only giving you half of the data, and then you have another SSIS package that's giving you the other half of the data. You want to be setting up your packages as tight as possible, right? You don't want to have 25 packages when you can only have 8. Um, it's just, you want to make it as scalable and as effective, efficient as possible. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. That's the concept of SSIS. And that's where SQL Server really comes in and shines. So we're just installing this. Once this is installed, then I'll create another video where we'll go ahead and create some tables and get started on working with some queries and things like that. So I'm really, really excited to show you about this stuff. It's going to be great. Looks like this is getting close to being done. This machine that we're working on right now is just my desktop. It has 64 gigs of RAM. It's a AMD Ryzen 9 processor, so it's kind of a beast. I used to use it a lot for gaming when I didn't have 4 kids and I wasn't a solution architect. Working like 80 hours a week. So, all right. So our installation is completed. We're good to go. I have it on the drive that I want it to be. We want to set up SQL Server Management Studio, so let's go ahead and install that. So it says, all right, free download for SQL Server Management Studio. Let's download that. 650 megs. Oh boy. Okay. Thank God I have Google Fiber. And I'm still on, I'm on Wi-Fi, but I have a little Google Fiber hub that I can connect Ethernet to. So like the computer feels like it's on Ethernet. but it's really not, right? It's still downloading at Wi-Fi speeds. You can kind of tell, but it's more than sufficient. It still feels fast. All right, so that downloaded. Let's install SQL Server Management Studio, and once again, let's not install it on the drive that is hosting the operating system because I just don't want to. One of the really cool things I've learned just recently on one of my projects with the last firm I worked with was working with, oh, I'm so sorry, my watch, um, was working with Azure Data Factory. And that's one of the really cool things that SQL Server Management Studio, the 18.10 release has is this integration with Azure Data Factory, where you can actually run your SSIS packages right out of SQL Server Management Studio, meaning there's an integration between ADF and SSMS, where you can actually turn on the what they call the Azure Integration Runtime. And when you do that, you can run those packages, but it's actually using a machine that you can set up with your own parameters, like how much RAM does it have, how many CPUs does it have, how many parallel packages can you run at the same time. You know, you could run like eight eight packages at the same time if you want. All of that stuff. How many processors? How many logical processors does it have? All of that, and so you can run that right out of the management studio if you want. And it can also validate your packages to make sure that there's not going to be any issues when you actually batch those up inside of the Azure Data Factory, where that's where you actually schedule them. So you can't schedule them in Management Studio if you're using Azure Data Factory, but it is one really cool place where you can do some debugging. So I'll probably I won't be able to show you that because I'd have to pay for it and it's really expensive. But anyways, just food for thought. All right, so it looks like this is just about done. So let's take a look at what we have. How cool. Hey, you guys like the name of my machine? All right. So I'm gonna have to populate all this stuff with you guys in my next videos and stuff. We're gonna have to have some databases, some tables, and things like that. But this is where we're gonna live, our tables. But already there's some out of the box stuff. But no, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create some tables programmatically. All right. Thank you so much for watching.